So our next one is a student presentation recognition, the Joseph's Institute Ethic Board of Governors presentation. Character counts.
Thank you.
Should each of us sit down here so that we can be heard, probably?
Sure.
So, okay. Thank
If
you.
you can do me before you start, John, you're going to have to close one of those doors because we're getting
Hi,
feedback.
this is Michael Josephson from the Josephson Institute of Ethics and Character Counts. I'm sorry to appear this way.
Yeah, we're going to listen to Michael Josephson at the end. First, I want you to... He's actually in Vienna right now. He would be here in person, he will tell you. I mean, he really would come to address you because he was so impressed by the group that we brought down town when they had their annual Board of Governors meeting. And I would love to say it was me they were most impressed with, or the adults I brought, but it was really the students and the graduates that so impressed him. So what I want to do today is just give you a really brief introduction before I turn this over to the students. And what they've given each of you, I think, is a folder of materials. And this is basically a duplicate of what they gave to the Board of Governors. The purpose was to talk about what we were doing here in terms of our Character Counts program. And what a character education program is, a number of people here have gone through the character development seminars put on by Character Counts and have learned about character and moral development and how you need to activate what we call the head, the heart, and the hands, the cognitive, and have kids think about values and ethics and how those apply to themselves and their lives. Their hearts, you need to activate their feelings, the affective part of their lives so that they can connect with others in meaningful and impactful ways. And then their hands, you need to get them active and involved in trying to make a difference in their lives and in the school community and culture. And so what we've done basically here is allowed a group of students to come together from diverse backgrounds and diverse experiences, and they put together this presentation. So the slides that you're going to see, with the exception of the few that have adult content, or adults as a part of the content and presentation, they came up with all the topics they wanted to talk to the board and to you about tonight. They asked me to get certain pictures and put them on the slides. They asked me to get the artifacts you see in the folders. So they really decided, and they built the ship and decided to steer it as well, and I'm very proud of them for that. Unfortunately, not all of them were able to come tonight. So we are, I think, 6 short. 6 are not here. We have everything from illness to other obligations, work, etc. And we also have with us 2 graduates, and you'll get introduced with them as they come. And at the end, what I'd like to show you is you have on the left side, you actually have a summary of the PowerPoint slides we're going to go through. And then you have a letter from Michael Josephson, which he sent to me via email from Vienna because he couldn't be here. And then also he sent me a little video so that he could speak to you in the community about what he feels about Riverside, Brookfield, and hopefully the future. So without any further ado, I'm going to go to I need to have the PowerPoint up. I don't know if you need to help that so that we can start advancing it and I can get the students and the teachers up here. And I will introduce them to you as we go. So we'll start with Patty Young. Patty is a math teacher here who's gone through the character development training, and she is going to start us off with how we integrate this into the classroom.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm going to wait just a minute for the PowerPoint because it has some of the points on there that I wanted to go over. Okay. Well, I'll get started. I'm sure it'll catch up to me here in a minute. So basically, my job was to explain to the Board of Governors what it is we have been doing as a school and what the teachers have kind of been doing to help kick off and get this going in our school. So after being introduced to the program, there were several staff members that were sent to the training. And shortly after that, what was really cool was that the students and staff were both surveyed to kind of figure out where we felt the greatest needs were as far as these concerns. What we came up with was that student responsibility and bullying were really kind of themes that we kept hearing. So you'll see on the PowerPoint some of those suggestions that students had come up with. Again, teachers met with these heterogeneous groups of students and had discussions addressing specifically the problems that we saw, or the students saw too, in the school. So as a result from those focus groups, again, we determined that in order to address the bullying and student responsibility, we were really going to focus on 3 pillars: respect, responsibility, and caring. So the Institute Day of that first year of our implementation, Student Services put together an anti-bullying education and prevention presentation based on the 6 ethical values of character counts. And in the packet of materials, you can see there's a copy, I believe, of that presentation. Then, in addition, the trained character counts teachers broke us up into smaller groups where we actually talked about and looked at some of the videos, things that we could do specifically in our classrooms to help teach these core ethical values. Then the second year of character counts at our Fall Institute Day, this would have been last year, we had Dr. Gary Smits, who presented about basically sending the message that we want our young people to be both smart and good. And on a personal level, again, I was able to attend last year the Character Development Seminar. So in addition, last year was our planning year for the implementation of our RTI, Positive Behavior Support Program, that we are going to be implementing here real soon. And so what we came up with was the program called Bulldog Pride, which is basically using the idea that staff members teach these expectations to the students for positive behavior, and we acknowledge positive student choices. So we actually made a video that the students are going to be seeing real shortly, starring some of our students that we have here, that kind of explains the program to them and basically lets them know kind of how this is going to work in the school this year. And then there have been different committees that are working with this PBS, Bulldog Pride, and the teaching committee, again, is focusing on continuing to, actually teach those positive behaviors. We are setting up another video that will focus on respect, and that's in the works right now. Finally, in that folder, you'll see some specific examples of the teachers integrating the core ethical values. There's the character in the rye that one of our teachers in language arts had used to kind of implement the pillars with their curriculum, and it was really a neat project. And then in addition, if you'll advance to the next slide, we have some artwork that is really neat if you have a chance to take a look at it, just that demonstrates the pillars in action. So that's it.
Thank you, Patty. Next, John Passerella is going to talk to you just a little bit about how we've incorporated the pillars into our work with students in attendance and behavior.
Hi, I'm John Passerella, I'm the assistant principal. I oversee student affairs. Thanks for having us here. I think when the character counts came in through with Pam, was an interesting idea to hear about. The office that I oversee has an opportunity to redirect energy from students who are having difficulties with decision making. What Character Counts has allowed the office to now do is, instead of simply issuing discipline, it's a more in-depth conversation. It's an opportunity for students to reflect. And on that note of reflection, what the office has done is a couple of things that over the years wouldn't even have been thought of. First, it's an opportunity literally for the students to have a conversation with myself, Mr. Sibley, the dean, or the assistant dean, Mr. Dugetti, and reflect literally on the pillars that they have fallen on. It might sound a little corny, you're sitting there with a high school senior, what pillar did you fall on? But when they sit there and you have an opportunity to really listen to that young man or young woman, you realize that you've struck a nerve with them. That in fact they realize, where they kind of got off track. In some cases, it was almost like enlightening for them. It was an opportunity for them to take a step back and and see what they're doing and how it's impacting not just themselves but their family or the school environment. That right there was an awesome opportunity that we took advantage of. In some cases, depending on the situation, they write reflection papers where they talk about their strength, the pillar that they're solid on, and what, in their opinion, makes it solid. And then they talk about the pillar they fell on. In order to do that, we've created a worksheet for them, an opportunity for them to take home. They start it in the office, and then they leave. That doesn't mean they're not disciplined, but it's not simply just punitive. It's more educational, and it's an opportunity for them to reflect back. The students that have come through the office, in our opinion, and when we track a lot of data, you can see it's impacted them because they're not returning. And when they do return, it may not be for the same thing. So it's an educational opportunity that we've truly taken advantage of. Our numbers across the board are you can see decreases. It doesn't mean in every area of discipline you're falling, because when you're charting data like we are, and when you're addressing discipline, we're in a high school, but the seriousness of our offenses, have literally just dropped, and it's been an opportunity. These numbers weren't on accident, and for those that are sitting there, I'll start with tardies. We've dropped tardies, and that's for the time period there, because what's interesting is the numbers have continued to, attendance-wise, just it's an erosion that is not happening on accident. The numbers are dropping. Tardies were down 1,400 plus. Cuts were down 2,300. Those two areas are significant because it impacts school climate. When students are in classrooms, they're not disrupting the halls and causing havoc and getting themselves in trouble and taking away from learning. Truancies, incidents of truancy down 160. It's because we're more aggressive in our, not just tracking, but how we're addressing those students and then connecting with their families and reaching out beyond just the office. The ADA is also, it's an opportunity where we keep students in school instead of suspending them. More severe cases, you have no choice. But the opportunity we have to keep students, the more opportunity we have to keep students in school, the better off everyone is. And suspensions have been down also. Mind you, that was the first semester for a year's time period. We recently grabbed a hold of data from last year, and we're seeing the same trend continuing. Attendance has just been literally just, we're blowing it through the water, and it's happening because students are buying in. It's not a program you're just handing them and walking away and seeing how it clicks back later. It's something that is embedded in every day of our life. So it's been a great opportunity for the office.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate it. Thank you, John.
There's a little bit more data for you there. So moving on, we're going to, there's one more slide that we'll take a look at here. If you advance it one more for me, Gary, thank you. Bullying and intimidation is not on the rise. What's on the rise is students being consequenced for it because it's being reported more. That students, we have activated that student voice. They're trying to improve the school culture and climate. They identified respect as an area they wanted to work on, so they're coming forward to make that information happen. There's one more slide, if you can show, that we'd like to say. There's a huge body of research that demonstrates that as school climate improves, academics also go up. And so we've seen that also. This is the end of first semester, and we have more advanced data now, but I'm just showing you what we did share with the board. So at this point, I'm going to bring up a couple of our graduates. I'd like to ask Madison Powers and Julie Cindy up. They're going to talk to you about what they witnessed, and the reason there's a lot of power in their voice is they were here 2 years before Character Counts came and 2 years after. And you'll see Trevor's, if you advance it one more slide for me too. Thank you. Trevor was also with us. Any name you see that's darkened in was unable to attend tonight due to some other obligation, but I wanted to publicly recognize them.
Hi, as Ms. Biles said, me and Julie are recent graduates from RB, and we witnessed the transition from being a school of character, or community of caring, to Character Counts, and we noticed the difference between switching programs, whether it be students respecting each other more, getting involved, like they said, tardiness going down in grades. But the most significant impact we saw was the bullying situation. Obviously, bullying is an issue across all high schools, and RB is no exception. But when Character Counts was introduced, we saw the difference between students realizing you can't disrespect each other like that, and if there is a disrespect shown in the hallway or the classroom, that it should be reported, and we can't just let that go touched. So you saw with the Skyward, there's on the next slide, it shows that there's a thing on the website. there's a link on the website to report bullying, whether anonymously or with your name. And it just, it was a great tool for students to use if they didn't want to have their name out for everyone to know, but still have consequences be given to the person who was bullying another person. And it was just a good change for our school.
Another difference Character Counts has brought to RB is that the organizations and the clubs and sports within RB have become one, and as a result, bullying has gone down because of that, because other sports would bully other sports. So.
We just realized that through the transition of community and caring to Character Counts that students are showing more respect for each other, and it's definitely a more prevalent aspect of RB.
Better climate.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next, I am going to, and also the bullying, the anonymous bullying form was a student idea after we had some of those focus groups and brought students together. They really were loud and clear about we need some tools to help us, and so they're really being active and trying to be a part of the solution, so we're very proud of them about that. And Julie usually talks to me about how I always mention it in every speech. Oh, yeah. Julie likes to say that it helps Mrs. Biles works it into everything, the 6 pillars, which are trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. So I'm going to speak now. If you'd advance it for me, please. Thank you. Mr. Ostro can't be here. He will be having a baby with his wife tomorrow, if not tonight. So I'm speaking for him so that he can be with her. He has talked about the difference that this made, that we always, he says, as coaches, try to work with our students about being people of good character, but we didn't really have a tool that was helpful, so that we could be consistent. And that's the important part of this, is there's some consistency in the message. And so coaches are hired. We interview for their willingness to adhere to the Character Counts pillars and to use them with what they're doing with their athletes. We put it, they're evaluated as a part of how well they're doing that, and that they're also modeling those values for the students. We also put it in our parent and athlete handbooks and give them information on it. And the boosters, we're very pleased and proud that the boosters have adopted the philosophy and use it when they're making decisions as well to help guide their thought process. So without further ado, I'd like you to hear from Kaya. She's going to talk to you a little bit about, from a student perspective, athlete perspective, what it's like. So come on up, Kaya.
All right, well, I'm Kaya, and athletics at RB is truly a community. We always are working together, not only to help out the community outside of school, but each other inside as well. And during each season, which is winter, spring, or fall, each team is paired up with another team, and it's kind of like your buddy team. So this year I play girls basketball, so we were paired up with the boys swim team. So we would go and we'd watch a meet, and they would come and watch a game. And to be honest, none of us, I don't think, had ever gone to a swim meet before, and we thought it was the most fascinating thing ever. We thought it was so exciting, and it's just nice to just see something different, because we always go to the basketball games, the football games, but like swimming, they don't always get their fair share. So it was nice to see something different. And this program continues to instill values of citizenship and caring that we always use on a daily basis. And along with that, teams do service projects. So this year, the varsity softball team did a strikeout for breast cancer game, where they had a concession stand and they sold T-shirts to raise money for breast cancer. And the volleyball team did Volley for the Cure as well, which is in the fall, and it was the same thing with the T-shirts and the concession stands. And like basketball, we did a game, we played with Best Buddies in the Special Olympics team, and that was nice. And along with the coaching aspect that Mrs. Bilesma talked about, every coach at RB teaches their own set of values that they hope that we use both on the court or the field and take it out into the classroom and out into the real world as well. And one thing I took away from my coach this year is that he always told us you control 2 things, your attitude and your effort. And I think that kind of affected us all. He says it all the time, and the first time we were kind of like, oh, okay. And he kept repeating it, but when you think about it, when you're playing basketball, you get frustrated but you have to control yourself. And I think we can say RB, they're very nice teams. We don't get very many technical fouls in basketball. We're very nice people, which can be good or bad. But I think in the real world it works out pretty well. So I think that every athlete here at RB has had some coaching message that they've taken out into the real world, and I think that it has definitely come from Character Counts. Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you.
Next, I'm going to call up Emily Filuck and Michael Tardy, and they're going to talk to you a little bit about what we're going to be doing tomorrow and what we've done in the past few years based on their input of how we're going to welcome our freshmen and some of the other students that couldn't be here tonight or who have been switched to a different part. I would like to pause to just say that Emily had an amazing welcome speech for our faculty and staff this morning. It was very beautiful and well thought out, so thanks, Emily.
So tomorrow we have our freshman orientation, and the freshmen arrive at school at 8 a.m. The rest of the school comes at 10:15. And really, this is just an opportunity for them to get acclimated with the school before all of the other kids come, and they get a tour. We also have a presentation for them in the auditorium where Mrs. Bilesma will speak, I will speak. We have several other student leaders speaking from a diverse amount of groups, and it's just a great opportunity for them to become a part of the Bulldog community, and it's really to create a positive atmosphere. So the students are clapped in at 8 o'clock, which means that we have the halls lined with students from the band, we have the football team coming, POMs, cheerleaders, to just get them excited and show them school spirit. And then we will show them a spirit video as well, because this year we are definitely trying to improve our school spirit. And this day is just a great opportunity for all of the freshmen, and it's really exciting for all of us who are involved in it. We have tons of volunteers. I would say this year is definitely the most volunteers we've had student-wise in a really long time. So it should be great, and it's usually a fun day for everyone.
Okay. Well, for my experience, the first day I walked in the door of RB, I was welcomed by so many cheerful students, and I instantly knew I was going to be okay. Everybody was so respectful and caring, and I knew that I wanted to be one of them. I wanted the next freshman class to have the same welcoming experience as I did, and that's why I joined all the clubs, and I'm here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, yeah, we'll advance it one more. Cameron couldn't come at the last minute, so Emily's going to talk to you a little bit about conflict resolution skills and what that is like, and not only how that we have values, but we also teach students skills.
So through our J. Kyle Braid leadership team, we teach the freshmen conflict resolution skills, and what those are is it's just a way to teach students how to identify their own problems and how to solve their problems on their own without necessarily having to ask someone or to push them to the side, but really to address their problems and to move forward with independence. And so what we do is we have a homeroom in the morning, one day before school. Again, the freshmen come early and the rest of the students arrive later. And we just have a bunch of volunteers who sacrifice their time to teach these students, and I believe in your folders you have a copy of the handouts that we give them. And it's just basically having them address their problems, giving other people a chance to speak, and not compromising their own values while put into difficult situations.
Thanks.
Thanks.
So these skills are same skills that they use in adult mediation to come to win-win resolutions. So we're telling students that you're going to have conflicts, but we can give you a set of tools in order to be an active listener, be able to identify your needs and advocate for them, but also to be an empathetic member of a community that can get together with other people and resolve things peacefully. And we think this is a big part of why we're seeing a decrease in the amount of fights and conflicts that we're having, because kids are developing the skill sets to resolve them on their own. And so when they do end up in the dean's office, when they are having problems, we give them another dose of this. So we go back over, and our social workers work with them in a little more intense way in order to make sure that they can integrate those skills into the way that they're living and the choices they're making. So next, I am going to bring up Ashley Howe. She's going to talk to you a little bit about our guest speakers and how that's impacted her.
Express yourself. And while you express yourself, you want to stay respectful and caring to others. Eddie Slowakowski. That's the message he sent to RB students. He made us get up and dance. He made us have fun. I mean, he made the message so easy and so fun-loving that every student in RB couldn't help but take it in. Eric Greitens was our other speaker we had. He was a Navy SEAL, and he talked to us more in the serious tone about citizenship and service back to our community. He kind of explained how, when you think about it, there's a lot more people out there that have it much worse than you do, and you have to give back to the community. I mean, there's a ton of wounded veterans and soldiers out there who have to be stuck in a wheelchair, but yet they still have that drive to help their country and their community. So he helped us realize that we're some of the lucky ones and that we should be giving back to our community. So he motivated us to get up, get out, and start helping others. But though the 6 pillars are a big part of character counts, there's also another part that's not usually talked about, and that's when Ms. Bilesma comes into play. She's always talking to us about how ethical thinking and decision making are a big part of it as well. She tells us there's going to be certain situations where you're going to have to pick the lesser of 2 evils, and you have to stay true to yourself instead of falling into the new fashion of society. She doesn't just talk the talk, but she also is inviting too. You can talk to her about certain situations that have to deal with ethical thinking and decision making. So it's also a comfort as well, knowing that somebody's there who will listen to you and know that what you're going through and helping you how to make decisions and stuff. So these speakers have not only helped me, but they've helped a lot of different students in RB. They help us realize that character really is who you are when nobody's looking. So.
Thanks, Ashley.
And now to talk to you about a little bit more specifically about how we've been eliminating bullying, Matt Sagan is coming up.
Hi, my name is Matt Sagan. I'm a sophomore. Back in October 17, 2006, Tina Meyer's daughter Megan, she committed suicide after being bullied for a period of time after finding a fake boyfriend on MySpace. After that, Tina wanted to bring her story and the effects of bullying and cyberbullying to middle schools and high schools around the country, so she began to campaign. Tina Meyer first came to RB when Character Counts was first implemented. She would have an assembly with the sophomore class, talk to them about her story, her daughter's story, how the effects of bullying and cyberbullying and the need to respect people, and how the students can stop it. After the assembly, a group of student leaders from all 4 classes, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, would be able to meet with her and ask her more direct questions, like how can they help more, how can they be that leader that can stop bullying, and so on and so forth. During the school year, we show our respect for Tina and her daughter by holding Megan Meyer Day on the anniversary of Megan's death. On that day, we encourage students and teachers to come down to the front lobby by the new entrance and get a ribbon of Megan's favorite colors, which are black and white polka dots. They're encouraged to wear that ribbon the whole day in remembrance of Megan. Because of Megan Meyer let me back up a sec, sorry. Even after Megan Meyer Day, it was observed that students were still wearing that ribbon on them or on their backpacks throughout the year, and that really shows that the students here cared about Tina and Megan and their story. Because of Megan Meyer Day and Tina, and with Tina Meyer's visit visiting our school. Many students have taken Tina's words to heart. Because of this, the school has seen the decrease in bullying that Mr. Pastorell had talked about earlier. And it has really opened, Tina's words have really opened a lot of the students' eyes of the effects of bullying and cyberbullying and what it actually does to people. From Tina Myers, students have learned that they need to respect each other, the effects of bullying, and the impact of what you say and what it can do to people. And yeah, thank you very much.
Good job.
Okay, that was the end of our presentation. The Board of Governors asked a lot of questions actually throughout. They were so excited when they heard the students talk. So at this point, I would like to play the video from Michael Josephson so you can hear just a little bit from what he has to say. So this was recorded last night so that he could get it here to you today.
Hi, this is Michael Josephson from the Josephson Institute of Ethics and Character Counts. I'm sorry to appear this way. I'd rather be in person, but I'm in Vienna, and I did want to come as close as I could to being there in person to supplement the letter I gave Pam to circulate to you to accomplish 3 goals. First, I really want to commend the wonderful job that Pam has done, and I know she couldn't have done it without the support of the Board of Education and the superintendent, and the fact that you've allowed her to develop a program that's really extraordinary in many ways. We've encouraged Pam to apply for national recognition as a school of character because I think what she's accomplished would merit that award. I also want to do what I can to commend and congratulate the tremendous job that your students did in making a presentation to our board. We have presentations during every single board meeting, and so we've had scores of them, and they've all been pretty good, and they're inspirational and uplifting. But there was something really extraordinary about the presentation by your kids from Riverside, Brookfield. First of all, they were incredibly articulate and confident, but most of all, we were so impressed with the fact that they seemed to genuinely understand the purposes and reasons behind the character count strategies and had genuine buy-in and personal excitement in what they felt they had done to change the atmosphere and the culture of the school. And that really is extraordinary. And the fact that not only did Pam bring with her some current students from various parts of the school campus, but also a couple of alumni, and it was incredibly impressive to hear their story about how they felt that it had made a difference in their lives as well as in the school itself. So if nothing else, I hope you at least hear this outside acknowledgement of what a tremendous achievement you have done there, and we commend you for it. But I'm also very enthusiastic about the possibility of a partnership. The presentation was so good, frankly, that when our board approved the idea that we wanted to start setting up some regional instructional centers as a way to make available more information about character counts and a better training kind of process, I was authorized to offer you to be one of the first partners. Now, obviously, this kind of partnership has to benefit both sides, and we know that if it doesn't increase significantly the educational opportunities of your students and some of the professional development opportunities for your faculty and staff, it's not going to be worthwhile. But we think there are a number of benefits, and I've outlined them in the letter, but quite simply, there are going to be leadership opportunities for your students. You're going to be able to have access to all kinds of new materials as we develop them. You're going to be able to get extra training and special things for both free or deeply discounted as a result, and not a small thing, I think, is you'll also be able to yield revenues from many of the training programs we have. But finally, I think it will be able to give some real recognition and national acknowledgement of the tremendous leadership that's occurring right there in Riverside, Brookfield. So please take seriously our proposal and take seriously our congratulations and our gratitude and our thanks for all the things you've done and that we know you will do. Thank you very much.
So each of you have a letter also in your packet on the left side. So thank you very much for your time and attention, and we were very honored to have this opportunity. Yes, Mr. Moon?
Will that be up on our website?
Absolutely. I think we have the capacity to do that. Yeah.
That's
good.
We're working on a press release too, correct?
Yes.
Bob, you're going to be putting that in there, right? Okay. We'll definitely be in. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Walsh.
Has two questions.
Sure.
The first one is, are you going to make a proposal that we become one of these regional schools?
Yes, I just got this letter today.
Okay,
So,
you have-
and I wanted the board to have the opportunity to look at it for you to have a little bit of time to absorb. And so I did, I think I mentioned to you that Michael Josephson, at their cost, flew me out to Los Angeles to the headquarters to meet with some people to just talk about that idea and how that could be mutually beneficial. And obviously the most exciting part for me is to really get the opportunity for more student leadership, where our students would be able to not only inspire, you know, other adults, but other students in other schools, so they can begin to have the vision of what can be done and the difference that it can make on their personal lives and in their school community and culture. So that's a very attractive idea. If and I think our students are somewhat interested. What do you think? Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, we'd love to talk to other students about that. So that's exciting.
And the other thing is, I don't want to discount what Patty Young said, but some of us were able to come to the presentation this morning and hear kind of the results from a parent and how the teachers in the classroom address this every day for the students. And that, you know, I think we should recognize that we talked about the administration and the coaches, but the teachers themselves have embraced it, and it appears that that's had a major impact on the effect on the children.
You were there when we talked about the teachable moment in the teacher's class. Yeah, we recognized. We had a parent who's also an employee who recognized that during a summer program, our summer bridge program, when one student was disrespected by another peer, these are kids transferring in from the middle schools, Mr. Olson stopped and talked about respect and what it means to respect each other in our environment and what we tolerate and don't tolerate. And it changed that young woman's life. She went home and said, I'm going to be protected. I'm so excited to come to school here. They're not going to put up with the kinds of things I've dealt with for my entire life. So that girl was, the mother was crying to me when she originally told me this story, very proud to be a member of the staff, that we are intentionally and aggressively trying to teach students the right way to behave. So as Patty said, it's not okay just to be smart, you need to be smart and good. And so thank you for bringing that up. Our teachers have embraced it, and I think that's why we're seeing the impact that we are.
So Pam and I will get together, we'll review the character counts proposals from Mr. Josephson, and Pam could lay out for me a plan on how she wants to fit this in, and then we'll bring a proposal back to the board.
Terrific.
Yes,
Pam,
Dr. Keene.
I'm not quite sure of the whole history of this and how you got involved with it and how you maybe did this at Hinsdale, or it seems to me this isn't your first go-round on this. Could you just give everyone here some background?
Yeah, I actually began working on character education 12 or 13 years ago. And when we started, there were no social emotional learning standards in the state of Illinois. We were just trying to work on things within our own culture. It was post-Columbine, and we were worried that something like a Columbine could happen in our school, and we were doing everything we could to address students who might be bullied or things not going well. So when we looked, character counts was the only option that actually did training on moral development at the time, and they were basically focused, besides the training, on materials for elementary school. So we built some of our own materials at Hinsdale, and then we did become a National School of Character. We applied for that grant years ago, and so there is a process for that. And so I've worked with the organization on and off, and I saw the power of what it did with the students there and how it recultured that school climate. And so when I interviewed here with the previous board and some of the board members here, I made it clear that this was my life and this is what I felt made a difference in kids and in the school, and that if they were to hire me, I would continue the work here. And the board embraced that and welcomed me on to continue that work at RB. So again, that's why the board is, Mr. Josephson understands that when I was hired, I was given the green light to go ahead and try and replicate some of the success we had here, and so he was recognizing that. And I've had the support, the absolute support of two superintendents, which I wouldn't be successful and the program wouldn't be successful without. So I totally appreciate that and thank Dr. Skinkus for that as well.
Does a great job with it.
Here, here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So at this time, we're going to recognize some of the students for participating. Ms. Bylsma will present certificates with Board President, Mr. Sidney.
We're going to face that way. That's the camera.
Mary Ann, do you have the certificates or the?
Okay, these were the ones, oh.
And Pam,
these are the ones not here. I don't know where the other ones are. They're not coming. Are these the
While they're finding that, I'll tell you 2 other stories from this meeting down in Chicago, because the board has already heard this, but parents haven't heard this yet. So I'm going to get over here so the camera, so everybody can hear it. So that meeting with their board was only supposed to be 45 minutes. It went how long? Hour and a half? And the reason why I kept an hour and a half, not because of them talking so much, it came from the board itself asking questions about the program and really building up what the kids were saying to them, because they liked it a lot. That's number 1. Number 2 was Pam that night went to dinner with the board of directors. Now, if you're on a board of directors for Character Counts, you have a pin that says Character Counts, and that's the pin that shows that you're on a board of directors. That board of director was talking to her and was so impressed with our kids, so impressed with our teachers, so impressed with Pam itself, that he took his pin off and gave it to Pam and said, "You deserve this more than I do, because you really embody what this program is." So I just want to let you know right now that this is a pretty big thing. And hearing the parent this morning at the faculty, welcome to faculty back, really honed in that this is not something, so she's got the pin right there, but it really showed that this program has an actual effect on kids. So
here's my pen. I ruined my first suit that I put this in. So as much as I love the pin, it's with me at all times, but it's not always on me. So we can't find the certificates, which I'm sorry. All I have are the ones for kids who aren't here, unless they're all, yeah, that's all.
They're not under there.
Nope. So I get to see the students another day when I call them down, and the graduates will have to come back and visit me from college, which would be just awesome. So I really apologize. I'm not sure where they are, but it doesn't mean that we don't care and don't love you and appreciate you. So I'm so apologetic. But
okay.
We will get them to you. So let's just give them a round of applause.
Yeah. Kaija Bo.
What?
Kaija Bo.
Kaya?
Kaya.
Congratulations.
Elise Castellez is not here, right?
Right.
Emily Filick.
Congratulations.
Ashley Howe. Michael Hornig is not here, but Michael. Cameron Kritakos. Olivia Lawrenson. Graduate Madison Powers.
Good luck.
Matthew Sagan. Julie Cindy, graduate.
We know how to get the certificate to you.
Michael Tardy. Caroline Wass, not here today. And Trevor Zaremba, not here today. Also, we have some staff that participated. We'd also, obviously, Ms. Pam Bylsma, our principal. Art Ostro, not here tonight, but athletic director.
You will name this kid character or counts.
John Passarella, assistant principal, student affairs. Kristen Smintana, our new assistant principal.
Always in the background taking photographs, organizing and orchestrating.
And Miss Patty Young. Thank you, everyone, and we'll get your certificates too.